Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. In this episode, we're going to get my buddy from Blue Hen Outdoors to come on and tell us all about what Blue Hen Outdoors is. Honestly, we like to shoot from the hip on these, so it's going to just be one of those episodes. I don't know a lot about Blue Hen. I know that we've been talking for a few weeks now, and we set this up about a month ago. So I'm really excited. Can't wait to hear all the hunting stories about them and just to figure out what Blue Hen Outdoors really is. So before we get into that, obviously got to run off the partners. Working Class Bow Hunter. I just want to give a congratulations to those guys. They have finally hit 700 episodes. I listened to that 7-hour episode and it was insane. I don't know how they do it. Really funny stuff, really good stuff. If you haven't listened to it yet, you really need to. But they also have a whole thing of merch that you guys can go get. I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. Really love to rep those guys. And awesome podcast, awesome group of dudes. So go to workingclassbowhunter.com. You can get this same hat, you can get the same shirt, and all of the new stuff that they are now pushing out towards everyone who listens, who wants to rep their stuff. Great quality shirts and hats and beanies, and everything that they make is great quality. So when you do that, use the code SEBHP to save you 15%. That is for all merch. Next up, if y'all didn't know, we are now partnered up with Prime and G5. So this is going to basically be two things in one ad. You can see my bear back there. I decided to keep it just as a backup in case my dumb butt decides to drop my bow out of the stand, or I forget it, or whatever it is. So because of that, I want to talk to you guys about Prime and G5 real quick. So we did an episode with Brian. I really wanted to work with Prime. They're a great Christian company. And, I really value that. Prime and G5 are both Christian-owned companies. They're family-owned companies, and that's extremely important to me. So I figured it was a great fit. Brian thought so too. So now, like I said, we are shooting Prime bows and we're shooting G5 broadheads. The bow I'm going to be getting is going to be the new Prime Form, which is a carbon aluminum hybrid bow. It's 338 foot a second. I think it's 6.5 inch or 6 3/4 brace height. Don't quote me on that. But it is an amazing bow. It's the best bow I've ever shot. And I've shot every single flagship that's come out, and it just blew all the others away, in my opinion. Super smooth. I love the center grip technology that they have. The aerogel that's on there that keeps your hand warm when it's cold out, which in Georgia, we don't get really that cold, but I've become thick-skinned from my Midwestern days. So your boy's a little bit cold sometimes when it gets to be November, December, January. I just love that bow, though. It's super smooth. Looking to get the 80 pound. Me and Brian were talking about that, and I'm kind of on the fence right now. I don't know which one I'm going to get exactly, whether it's going to be the 80 or the 70, but either way, it is going to be an amazing bow, and I'm going to be getting that in the Ghost Gray and Osseo limbs. So we're going to be ripping that Osseo, which you guys know I love. We'll get to them in a second. As far as broadheads go, I'm going to be doing kind of a summer broadhead test. I already know how I feel about the Mega Meat. That still is by far my favorite broadhead that I've ever used. The only one I've ever used that is 100% success rate. So what that means is it's 100% that I have shot an animal with it and I've recovered that animal. And it's devastating, dude. It's absolutely devastating. 3 blades with a 2-inch hole. My God. I mean, if y'all want to see some of the photos I have of what that broadhead will do, just shoot me a text. But I will also be testing the new T2 that's come out, and also the Dead Meat V2 on some pigs this year. May even take the T2 turkey hunting or the Mega Meat turkey hunting if I go turkey hunting. But G5 makes amazing products. They've been around for a long, long time. Some of y'all have probably shot the Montec. A lot of you are probably using the Mega Meat right now. So if you want to get a new bow, I highly recommend you go to primearchery.com and make or build your new form, or build the RVX plus 32 or 34. Both of those bows are amazing. If the form wasn't a thing, those are the bows that I would be shooting. So, but I just really want to push this whole thing with Prime. Very thankful to be working with them, and I'm very excited to be shooting for them here soon. As far as broadheads go, obviously G5 covers fixed blades, mechanicals. All of you know what the Mega Meat is. All of you know what the Montec is. So this little end to their section, I guess, is going to be kind of a mix. So G5 is one of the brands that Bergie, who runs Bergie Bowsmith, is a dealer for. Talked to Bergie today. He has the T2 and the Mega Meat on his website right now. He is getting the Dead Meat V2 on there and possibly some replacement blades as well for both. Because I don't know if they make replacement blades for the T2 yet, but they are. He's probably going to be getting the replacement blades for the Mega Meat and also the Dead Meat. So go to bergiebowsmith.com and use our code SEBH10, and you can save 10% on your order of the G5 broadhead. So it's kind of a win-win right there. So that's everything Prime G5. Thank you again for them, or to them, for believing in us like I believe in them. And I really cannot wait to see where this goes, man. I'm super excited. Next up is going to be the Bowtique. So me and Michael are working on a promo build. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I can't say anything yet. But the Bowtique makes, in my excuse me, in my opinion, the best arrow wraps on the market. The quality is by far better than anything I've ever used. Never had one fall off. I mean, it's great. They look great. The graphics are great. He can literally build anything you want on there. So go to the boutiquellc.com. Look at the pre-made designs. And also, if you want to get a custom order made, all you have to do is reach out to him either through email or Instagram. He'll make that work. And then when you do that, use the code SEBHP for free shipping. Speaking of Osseo, so going to have both Osseo limbs. I use Osseo camo. Been partnering with Osseo now for 2 years. And is it 2 years? No, 3 years. 3 years? I don't know. A long time. But it's been a great partnership, great product, great people behind the product. And I ain't going anywhere, right? I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm actually going to have Joe on here soon, maybe in a month or two. He has an amazing season. And Osseo is one of those brands that I truly believe in, like I do with all these other partners. Great camo. It blends in. Okay, I've got photos of me in the tree stand and it blends in. So if you know, now we're in the off season, turkey season's coming up soon, but some people, if you're like me, love to just do deer stuff all off season too. You need to start thinking about this stuff. So if you want to try out Osseo, go to osseogear.com, use the code SEBH, and that'll save you 15%. Next up is going to be Summit Tree Stands. Speaking of being hidden and all this other stuff that we love to be able to do in the whitetail woods, my Summit stands been working great. The Dual Threat Pro SD was amazing this past season. I'm going to get some replacement cables because I was pretty rough on it and I nicked it a couple of times, and I want to have the safest thing possible. But Summit makes an amazing product. They make they make climbers, hang-ons, climbing sticks, accessories. They have a whole new line of accessories. One of the cool things that I've seen that they've got now is it's kind of like a retractable bow, or not bow, but retractable gear hoist. So I'm definitely gonna be planning on using that. Just a great company. I love those guys. Also been partnering with them for about 2-3 years now, and just they're fantastic. So go to summitstands.com, look at everything they have to offer. Use the code SEBH15 for 15% off, and that is site-wide. That's everything. Next up is going to be Scoutek. I keep saying I need to call Ryan. And if Ryan, you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Life has been pretty crazy. But yeah, the Scoutek is my cell camera of choice. They've been working flawlessly. I haven't been feeding, so I haven't really been seeing too many deer, mainly because I haven't moved anything, but I do have plans for that. Actually, there's a lot of big plans. I'm sure that it's going to come up at some point. But Scoutek is an amazing brand to work with, and it's an amazing company to I guess be a part of the podcast. The product speaks for itself, and I don't plan on honestly ever switching unless one day Ryan's like, hey man, we're closing the doors, but that'll be a really sad day. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it will, especially because they have new stuff coming. They've got a new camera that's in the works. They've got app updates, new data plans. A lot of big things are happening in Scoutek. So once I hear stuff, you guys will too. Next up is going to be Ace Hardware, Social Circle. That's actually where I shot my prime, or not my prime, but the prime. And that's where I fell in love with it. Just awesome place, awesome guys. Go there to get your bow tuned. Go there to get your broadheads. If you don't feel like ordering them online, go there to shoot bows. I mean, they cover everything. Next up is going to be dialed archery. So next week, we are going to have Scott Bakken back on here to talk about the new dialed archery proof. If y'all don't know, the Arxos is done. They're not making it anymore. And the proof is kind of like the Arxos, but upgraded. Awesome site. I am extremely excited to be able to use one. And you know, it's gonna be a really good episode with Scott. So look forward to that. Go to dialedarchery.com. You can custom make your own proof right now. Do it. You won't be disappointed. Last but not least, it's gonna be Camo Dust. So Camo Dust is my scent control product that I use in order to stay hidden, and it works. A lot of us, used to use the spray on stuff. I used to use that. It worked sometimes it didn't. Camo dust for me has worked every single time. I've literally hunted it in wind that was going directly to the deer because I was stubborn and just wanted to go hunt. And I still saw deer. They never smelled me. So camodust.com, get the 6-pack. It'll last the whole season. And let me know if you guys have any other questions. We've done episodes with Chris in the past. So I'm gonna be pushing that too. I mean, I only push the stuff that I believe in, right? So that's all the partners. I think, let's see, is that all the partners? I believe it is. It's been a long day, so bear with me here. But before we get into this episode, you guys know I always have to preach the word to you guys a little bit. If you don't know Jesus Christ yet, please just hear me out. Okay. We're all going through tough times, right? Everybody has all that stuff. And I say this in every episode, but we have new listeners every week. So I try to keep it as fresh as I can with that. I am going to keep it a little short this time because I know they're waiting on me, but I got to tell you guys, man, he is amazing. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way that I've seen to have a good life, have I'm not going to say no stress, but be at peace, right? And I believe it's the only way to the one who created us. So I don't know. I'm not going to get too preachy with that. I know some people appreciate it, some people don't, but just open your mind to it, open your heart to it, and just give them a chance. That's all I can ask. So anyway, let's get into it with Blue Hen Outdoors. Enough rambling. Going to be a good episode. Here we go. In this episode, you have listened to the intro, obviously, already. Listen to me ramble on about partners, and for those of y'all who are open to the Lord, talk about that a little bit. But we've got Mr. Hunter from Blue Hen Outdoors. Dude, when did we schedule this? It was like a month ago, right?
Yeah, it was about a month ago.
Okay. So I'm sorry about the wait. I
You're
really
good.
But what's going on, man? I just want to dive into it, honestly, so we can kind of get that out of the way and then just shoot from the hip the whole time, have a good time. What is Blue
Yeah,
Hen
sounds good.
Outdoors?
So Blue Hen Outdoors is just kind of an idea that one of my hunting buddies here in Delaware, where I'm from, and my now wife, they've both seen me just watch YouTube, listen to a bunch of hunting podcasts, watch a bunch of hunting and fishing videos on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Like a bunch of other hunters, it's just on my feed constantly, and I'm just constantly watching it just to not only just for entertainment purposes, but just to get like tips, tricks, and maybe ideas that I haven't thought of before to, hey, maybe go here and hunt that, or maybe go here, fish that, maybe try this tactic here, or try this there,
Mhm.
that kind of deal. So then them seeing me do it and just from being doing it all a lot myself, but like, why don't you start videoing and trying to see if you can reach out to people and do product stuff and
Mhm.
whatnot.
Make a thing of it.
Right, so here we are with Blue Hen bow hunting. Kind of first year, didn't really expect to do as good as I kind of have been doing. I've been slowly growing. Got like a little over 1,000 on TikTok. Got a little over 500 on Instagram for the first year, so I'd say that's pretty decent. Got a couple
Damn. Yeah.
people that we've done a couple not big brand stuff, but like a couple small companies that are trying to get big, like Yahula Creek calls. I've done a couple of his calls and reviewed them. KT Customs, he's sent me some lanyards and for my duck calls and some tote straps to review and stuff like that. So it's been pretty good.
So are you guys like, because obviously this is basically centered around bow hunting on this podcast, but I've had
Hmm.
plenty of people on that, I'm not going to say they're not hunters. I mean, we just did an episode with Lindsey Thomas, who is the Georgia deer biologist
Okay.
for National Deer Association.
Yep.
We didn't talk anything about hunting until the very end.
Yeah.
Like it was all about how we have CWD now. So I've been lately trying to do like, not really branching out, but changing more than just the same old thing where it's like, oh yeah, I sat in my stand at 20 foot up and saw this big buck and then I shot him with my bow. And then the next guy the
Right.
next week is like, yeah, I stood in my stand or my ground blind and saw this big buck and shot him with my bow. It's like you can only kind of
Right.
cover that so much, you know?
Oh
So
yeah.
like I've got buddies that duck hunt. I mean, are y'all just I guess a well-rounded group? Is it like duck hunting, pigs, deer,
Well,
turkey, or
Well, it's kind of just me that's doing like most of videos slash
Okay.
face of everything. I do have like friends that help me like video me and that like I sometimes video them doing some stuff and put it up on there just to be like, hey, like it's not like I'm not the guy that hey, it's always got to be about me, but within the people of group that I hunt with, that's where I can see a lot of success coming from.
I got
Like
you.
I met and become good friends with the March Boys up in New Jersey, just a few hours above me. We've done some stuff together. The Antelope and Waterfowl down south and the beaches of Delaware. We've done some stuff together this season, so it's been kind of good.
I got you.
And to answer your question about what we do in Delaware, no, we don't have any real big predators. Only the real crazy predators we have are coyotes and foxes, and people hunt those as varmints around here. A lot of small game, squirrels and rabbits are pretty big around this time of year, and trapping is because it's the lull of everything falling off.
Hmm.
Deer and waterfowl is big when the seasons are in. Waterfowl is really big from being on the eastern coast and in between the Delaware and Chesapeake Bays are really big and known waterfowl community slash areas within the community. And I do, and growing up, I did do a lot of deer hunting with my dad because he's from Great Lakes region, Pennsylvania and Erie.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's kind of like real familiar with deer hunting and grew
Well,
up deer
Midwestern boy.
hunting. Yeah,
I
so
like it.
he so from him moving down and raising me up, he kind of had me more deer hunting aspect of things growing up. And through my teen into my young adult years, learned to develop a love for waterfowl and turkey hunting around here.
Gotcha. Dude, you sound a lot like my buddy Thor. If you've ever listened to him talk, that dude, we can talk deer hunting all day, but if I say duck or goose, his eyes light up and that's what he's all about. And I'm like, we've had this argument, and I mean, I don't know if I'm not sure which side of it you're going to be on here, but me and Thor always, especially towards the end of deer season when I'm still, I'm the type of person with it that and I'm not saying he doesn't, you know, keep pushing, right? But I just
Mm,
refuse to give up until I literally legally cannot hunt anymore because it's like you
mm,
just never know.
right.
So this past season, especially he and I, every time I would talk to him, because I'd call this dude like every day, right? Just talking
Mm,
about, what I'm seeing or whatever. And it got to the point where he's like, man, I don't even care about these deer anymore. I'm ready to go kill some ducks. And I'm like, how can you take such a majestic animal like an American whitetail, right? And especially
right.
some of the bucks that I was getting on camera. It's like, how can you not be so excited about that, but then want to go shoot a bird? And I just don't
Mm,
understand it. And I have nothing against duck hunting. Like, I
mm.
think it's cool. I mean, I love and don't take any offense to this because I don't know
No,
how
I
the
don't.
community
It's
feels.
all good. I have friends that we get into it all the time, so it's all good.
Yeah. But see,
No hard
my
feelings.
my exposure to duck hunting is Duck Dynasty. So when I
Hmm.
hear duck hunting, I'm thinking Uncle Si, which sounds like a great time. Don't get me wrong. But that's all I know about it. And so they've kind
Uh,
of opened my eyes to it a little bit more. And I mean, how do you feel? Like when deer season gets harder, you kind of just like, all right, well, I put in the effort there. Now it's time to go kill some ducks. Or is it kind of a mix of the two?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have a mix of the two, but I will take my bow and when September 1st or 5th, whenever it falls on the opener here hits, I'm gonna be in the woods as much as I can with my bow through the rut, and I'll give it like a week or so till after the rut's over. So like that second or third week in November, and then Thanksgiving hits. So you have all the holiday and all that
Mhm.
BS with Thanksgiving.
Best
So
time of the year.
right, so I take a little break with that, do spend some time with family and friends I haven't seen in a while, which I recommend everybody should.
Yep.
I'm one to be in the woods a lot, but I do say that you should take breaks every now and then to give yourself some break time, sleep in a
Mhm.
little bit, so you're not killing yourself waking up early all the damn time. I know people are gonna crucify me for saying that, but
Hey, I'm with you
that's
on
just
that,
my
dude.
personal belief.
Yeah, I
But
get up at 4:30 every single day for work. And you'd think
Hmm.
that would make it easier during deer season. And honestly, man,
It doesn't. It just makes it that much harder.
yeah, that Saturday rolls around or Sunday morning, and I'm like, God, man, a week ago I was able to sleep in and now I can't. It's like I
Right.
really want to get up, but it.
But
I don't know. My thing with it, and again, I've never gone duck hunting. It's just
uh-huh.
I've been obsessed with deer my entire life. Like
Oh
honestly,
yeah.
you may have heard the story about how my childhood was, but I grew up with one uncle that deer hunted in Illinois.
Uh-huh.
Right, that's where I'm originally from. And every single year, I'd be like, Uncle Johnny, can I go hunt with you, please? Because I don't know. I'm over here
Right.
playing Deer Hunter 1 or 2 on a freaking PC. This is
Right.
well before for the younger listeners, Brock. Um, there was this thing called a computer that wasn't able to sit on your lap, right? I'm,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you remember those, right? We had the
Yep.
big tower thing, the monitor. Yeah, and you
Yep. Yep.
pop this
Yep.
thing called a CD in there, and it could have one game. One
Yep. I
game.
remember those. Yep. I'm
Yeah,
on the younger
right.
side of that generation, but I was still around for that. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I never got to do it. And it was always like kind of like the forbidden fruit, right? Or I'd say, can I
Hmm.
go with you? And he would say, no. Come to find out, the dude was a hell of a deer hunter, but he also was a hell of a drinker. And so
Mm.
that's kind of what they
Okay.
were doing. And it's like, I get it. I wouldn't take my daughter to deer camp like that if that's what I was doing.
Right.
I don't know. So deer, I tell this to Thor. I tell this to anybody that comes on here that hunts ducks. I respect it. I'm gonna do it one day. I'm sure it's a ton of fun, but nothing's ever gonna take away like that passion for deer. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, don't get me wrong. I have that burning desire all the way up till just after the rut with
Yeah.
deer. Like I will be in the woods. I'll be ready to throw my bow out the stand, cuss out deer if they don't come close enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
oh, I've done the whole nine. Like I've seen deer bouncing off by my truck at dark. I'm like, what the hell? Are you like? I'll have that burning desire for deer, but once that time has to roll around for ducks and geese, I have a love-hate relationship with waterfowl. I love it just as much as I hate it because I love the whole experience watching the birds work and having them come in the decoys and getting the birds and all that stuff. But I hate the cold and the wet aspect of it because as much as I do it, no matter how much I try to avoid it, is bird hunting. And if you hunt around water like I do a lot of times, there's a high possibility you're going to get wet. And you got to suck it up, buttercup, in the
Mm-hmm.
cold and freezing. And oh man, that happened to me this year and a couple times. And whew, I was ready to pack it, but I sucked it up and we made some stuff happen out of it. But
Well, I mean, and in Delaware too, you guys get snow. It gets cold up there.
oh, we just got snow
Georgia,
last night.
see, exactly.
We got
Like
like
Georgia's
we
warm. I
got
mean,
like
dude,
4 or 5 inches last night.
we literally, so I just got back from Colorado a week ago, which I'm shocked I came back, to be honest.
I am too.
I love it, dude. Oh my God. I saw these bulls out there. Had to be 400 inches. Their antlers were taller than me.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, granted, I'm 5'8", but still, like, that's a huge animal. And then saw some
Oh
units
yeah.
that were like 160 plus. I told my uncle, I was like, dude, if you want me to help you on the mortgage, I will move downstairs. I can sleep on the weight bench. I don't care. But that was cold, right? It's a different cold than down here. But for Georgia, we don't get, I mean, if we see 20, we consider it a rough winter. We had 2 days or 2 times this past month where we got snow.
I was
And
gonna say, were you guys in the area that caught some snow?
yeah, I missed work for those days. It was great. It was a lot of
Oh
fun.
damn.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was happy. I could have used a break for sure. But
Well, it's funny
that's
because sorry to cut you off, but it's
no,
funny
you're
because
fine.
my folks have a beach house in Myrtle Beach, and I
Oh,
go
okay.
down there sometimes and fishing and turkey hunt when I can. But anyways, it's crazy because they got a little bit of snow and all their friends and stuff down there are like, oh,
Yeah.
snow. They're like, or my parents are like, snow? What do you mean? Like,
This is a
we get that,
dusting.
like, if we get that every now and then up here, it's all right. You'll be
Yep.
okay.
Dude, it was so funny. So like down here, I don't know if you've heard of Georgia's snow apocalypse that we had back in 20. I was in high school, so I think it was 2011 or 2012 when it happened, but it shut us down for an entire week.
Oh,
And
damn.
what's so now, granted, I'll give them credit because okay, we didn't get 5 foot of snow. We only got maybe a foot. which for here is a lot. What happened was everything froze over. We never got above 30 degrees that entire week.
That's what the killer is,
That's what
because
does it.
you'll get that sun that comes and melts all the snow off or melts it
And
a
then
little
it
bit on
freezes.
top, then it freezes over top at night. Yep,
Exactly. So
that's what we have a lot of bad up here, but they're pretty good about salting. So
well, and that's the crazy part is like when we got this most recent snow, I told my wife, I'm like, listen, because it's kind of hit or miss. Whatever Georgia does, or maybe it's just the population's mindset. They see snow and they don't prepare for it, right? So like I'm texting work the day before, I can feel the temperature going down. I'm watching this system work over. I
right.
called my boss. I was like, "Am I working tomorrow? Like, are we?" Because I travel all throughout the state. I do fire inspections, so I'm going to multiple different places in the state. And I was like, am I working? Like, what are we doing here? He's like, stand by. I don't know yet. Dude, it was 30 minutes. They sent out a group text like, hey guys, take tomorrow off. There's no way. A week or two later, same thing happened. But what was funny about it is you'd think that they would salt the roads. You'd think that the Georgia meteorologist would say, hey guys, we're going to get cold temperatures. We're going to get snow. Things are going to freeze. Let's get the salt trucks ready. There's a salt factory, mine, whatever, 30 minutes from my house. And yet the next morning, I got my truck, drove over to my mother-in-law's place, and dude, they didn't do anything. So I've got that thing in 4 low or 4 high, going like 15 miles an hour down the road, just kind of swerving around, having fun. And I'm just looking around. I'm like, dude, this could have been avoided because Colorado had the same thing. And what did they have? Open roads. They had plows, they had trucks. I know we don't get it a lot, but it's just, I say all of that to basically say you're duck hunting and even deer hunting is definitely different than down here because we don't.
Oh, way different.
Yeah. Like you guys probably go in on snow. Hell, I had buddies. My buddy Christian went hunting that morning. We got snow for ducks. And I'm like, you're freaking crazy.
Oh, it's up here when you get weather like that, it's the best for birds. It doesn't matter if you're if you're on water, field, or what. If you're around when the weather hits for birds, it's good.
Yeah.
It can be better than good sometimes. I've been to I've been to my buddy's farm down in Smyrna, Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a property that backs up to it's kind of like what you guys, I would say you guys have more of like your kind of duck woods. It's like hardwoods that backs up to marsh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a lot of that.
Yeah. Or like marshy hardwoods, something kind of like that. Yeah. So his property's like that. And he told me, he's like, because I missed the one snow that we had that year. And he was like, yeah, snow's coming tomorrow. You don't have work. You need to somehow get down here. And at the time, the car I had only had two-wheel drive. So I'm like, all right, we're going to try and make this work somehow. So I got up real early, drove like 30 miles an hour down. Because at the time, it's about a half-hour drive from where I was at in Delaware.
Mm.
So I drive down. We get down there, get set up. It's still white out, snowing down conditions. When I tell you, 7:38 rolled around, all you saw in the sky was ducks.
That's crazy.
It's still white out conditions, but it's just ducks.
Yeah.
And him and another guy he had out with us were in the weeds with the one dog trying to get ducks. Ducks were flying into the spread as they're out getting them. Oh yeah, it was crazy. I'm like, yo, get back. Ducks are coming in. He's like, if you see daylight above us when they're coming in, shoot. I'm like, all right.
Okay. That's fun.
So yeah, so there was that. But oh, it's great when it's snow or it's icy in bed. Like this past year, we had to go break a hole. Actually, last day of season, how I ended off the seat. I mean, I don't know about Georgia, but in February, outside of like small game and trapping, you can snow goose hunt, conservation snow goose hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys do it, but some guys don't really go through the headache of doing it, nor have I really seen the amount of birds that's worth the headache to put in the work up here for. It's kind of like hit or miss.
Yeah. I don't
But
even know if we get
anyway,
snow goose down here. We might have beach goose.
yeah. But anyway,
I don't
we
know.
we went down to the beach brant hunting, which is kind of like a coastal goose that doesn't really fly much south of Virginia. So they're
Right.
from like Virginia up to Canada. It's like their
Mhm.
flyway on the coast. So either here they have black brant out on the Pacific coast, which are probably like North California to Oregon, Washington area because they like the cold in Canada.
Dang.
Yeah, but first brand hunt down there didn't really get nothing. That was a whole shit show in itself. But we went down the last day of branch season. Bays froze over completely. Like we're walking on the bay to go punch hole in the ice to go throw
Wow.
the decoys out. And so we get like about probably a good 150 foot, like 150, 100, 150-yard hole, like cut open in the ice.
Mhm.
Now that's not hard because it's the bay and it's salt water, so that salt ice is like it's not like freshwater ice where like it's still hard, but it's like soft
Yeah.
enough where you can break it real easy and it's still if it's thick. So we made it work. And then Group of Brant came in, did it perfect. 5 minute limit to end the season off.
That's crazy, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go duck hunting at some point or goose hunting or whatever, because just to
You'll
say I
just
did
have
it, you
right, and
know.
you'll just have to go do it and do it somewhere. I don't know if you got like friends or anything from doing this that like have or in like the cool good areas like Arkansas or Kansas or like the Great Lakes
Dude,
or like up
so
here.
one of my
But like that's
buddies,
where you want to do it.
yeah, one of my buddies who actually has been on the podcast, Justin, lives in Arkansas, and he keeps on telling me, he's like, dude, you need to come shoot some birds here. He's like, we can go pheasant hunting, and he's got some monster deer over there too. So I'm like, let me get my Ohio trip out of the way. Let me go to Colorado. Let me do those two things that I already have
Right,
kind of set up, and then we'll talk. It's like, because I do
right.
want to go out there. The problem is I'm not a big fan of snakes. And I know that there's a lot of snakes over there. So I was like, you're gonna have to sort of warn me before I come out there. But yeah, dude, I mean, Delaware, see, Delaware is one of those, especially being big into deer hunting like I am, that isn't there one buck, I think it might be the state record, that and I could be thinking of the wrong state. I want to say it was Delaware though, where this buck's antlers, it's in a collection, but this buck's antlers are like mineralized almost. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like the salt
Yeah,
water and stuff like that came off. That to
yeah.
me is, I've never even thought of hunting coastal deer. I mean, what's it like out there?
I I don't know if that specific deer is specific deer is here
Yeah.
and is from Delaware. But I will say that coastal deer like we have big deer like we have big like not well I mean compared to what you guys have down in Georgia because like I've heard from doing fishing guides and stuff down there it's a little rough sometimes
It's
but
hit or miss.
it's hit
Yeah.
or miss but
Yeah.
I say average small deer around here is like 140 150
That's your
at
average.
that's average.
Dude, that's like a freaking county record here. I'm over here chasing 130s thinking they're giants. I mean, we do have, like
I mean
C1, J
right I mean
Moss 4610, but
we have like the 130s
yeah,
120s
yeah,
but like most of the time you're going to see like a 140 or a 150 around that ballpark deer if you get a decent like 8 point or a decent 6 point around here
yeah.
that's what you'll probably get like 140 ballpark area
That's
maybe a little
wild.
more.
Are those like swamp bucks or marsh bucks, I guess?
Oh no, that's like regular the swamp donkeys you're talking 160 plus
I'm gonna have
easy.
to look. Do you
Like
guys have
ours,
like a deer record system I could look up to see?
yeah. So our deer record system, I think the record is like one of the records is like 200. One of them's like 180. 180 something,
Damn.
and then another one's like between that 200 and 180 ballpark.
Okay. I'm looking up right now the Delaware whitetail deer records.
There
And the
you go.
all-time typical, there's no photo. Dang it. All-time typical is Jesus, 185 and 4/8
Yep.
killed in Sussex County, which I don't know if I should be saying the county, but I don't think anyone in Georgia is going to be like, oh, I'm going to Delaware. They might.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, who
Yeah.
knows?
They might
But
come duck hunting, but they ain't coming deer hunting up here. But
yeah,
after they
yeah.
hear this, who knows?
So that's the typical. What's the non-typical? 208.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's around that area. Yeah.
So the
But see,
archery
I almost broke the non-typical.
for archery or firearm?
Well, both firearm and archery. What's the
Oh,
archery?
damn.
Run it back
Okay.
to me again.
The archery, well, okay, so the all-time non-typical was 208.
No, it's smaller than that.
The
What's the other thing?
archery non-typical is 201.
It's smaller than that. Then no, it's typical.
Oh, typical. Oh, 185.
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can tell without my friend getting mad at me because he'll probably listen to the
I mean,
podcast.
all right, so I run into this a lot. You can say whatever you want, just don't say county and don't say names. Other than that, and don't describe where it was at too much detail. If you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, that's how I've always gone about it because I've had buddies in Georgia that are right now, they were hunting a 200-inch deer last year and nobody knows where it's at except me and him and whoever else he's told. So
We'll
you can
just
be
put it
cryptic.
like this. I I have my opportunities, and there was times where I should have been in the woods, but didn't really feel like going out. I
I
mean, you
hate
know
those.
how it be, or you have some stuff going on, but you don't really
Mhm.
feel like doing, and you should be in the, whatever. But I did put my time in and effort in for this deer. I will say that. Like I did put good time and good effort in for this deer. And I can definitively say that this deer is above 190
As a typical,
as a typical.
good God. You're talking world
And
record typical status right there, man. That's nuts. That
and
is
I, and I,
so nuts.
and that's all I'm gonna say because
Okay.
there was a situation with said deer, and then
Oh, you gotta tell me that off air.
I'll
That
tell you
I
off air.
gotta know
But
that. That I love stories like that. I
we can talk.
absolutely do.
I after we're done recording this, I can talk to you. I can talk to you probably till tomorrow about stories. But
Yeah. Well, say as much as I want to do that, tell me the story, and then I gotta go eat because I'm starving.
oh, you're good.
But yeah, we're nowhere near the end of this though. I do want to kind of circle back a little bit to Blue Hen. Like, where did the Blue Hen bow hunting or Blue Hen Outdoors name come from?
So blue hen bow. So it started as blue hen bow hunting,
Uh,
and I started doing everything when bow season came around. So I was like blue hen bow hunting. It makes sense. And the whole blue hen thing is that's what like UD's mascot is, or
okay.
like Delaware's state bird is the blue hen. So I was like blue hen bow hunting or blue
Huh.
hen out. I rebranded Blue Hen Outdoors because I realized I do more than just bow hunting.
Yeah. I gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense because I'm over here thinking like you've got a blue turkey hen or like a blue chicken, and
No, no,
I'd
no, no,
want to
no,
see
no, 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 no,
that.
no, no, no. Not
That's
nothing
crazy.
crazy like that. Nothing crazy like that. But my apartment complex that me and my wife are living in does have a blonde morph snow goose that might disappear.
I don't know anything about it if it does. I'm
But
however many miles away. That is not. Oh God, what is, dude? All right, this is gonna be totally unrelated. Do y'all have a Ring camera by any chance?
yeah.
Dude, I love mine, but I hate mine. And I honestly have never done this on here before, but there's this cat that I named Bob.
Oh, you get all the weird informations.
Dude, I get like videos of people driving in the driveways. Look at this right now. Right on the front porch. I've
Oh,
got this
the cat
bobtail
Bob.
cat just chilling.
Oh,
Sorry, I got ADD. My brain goes back and forth all the time. So I saw
you're good.
that. Thought I'd tell you, but
You're
now my
good on the
phone's gonna
same
blow up.
way.
So, gosh, dude, typical over 190. That's insane. We
Yeah,
had,
like I will say this, like this is one of those scenarios that me and him were walking out of the woods one time early this year, and we were walking to the trucks, and we were like, "What's that?" And we like were looking at it, and it had its head down feeding the soybeans at this time, and it picked its head up. I wouldn't have believed him if I wasn't there, but I thought it was a freaking mule deer.
wow,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Like
saying
you
something.
like you just see rack
Yeah.
and white ass bouncing away. I'm like, wow.
Damn.
And he
That's
was
like
a good
almost
200 yard and he was a good 200 yards plus away from us too.
yeah. So I mean, if you can tell the size by that, I mean that's I'm not gonna say that's kind of like a Rampolla buck style story in a sense of just a giant deer, but
Yeah.
that's nuts, man. So I'm assuming you guys didn't kill him, which means
No.
he's gonna be around next year, hopefully, right?
No, no.
Oh,
He,
oh
he did
man.
get killed. That's part of the situation, but
Okay. Well,
like I
well,
said, we can't get into it.
yeah, we'll leave it at that. Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
hate bringing up
And,
depressing things like that.
and that's kind of what killed the drive of my deer season. That's why I was happy it was around when waterfowl season was kicking off. But
Yeah. I
come
mean,
to
that
find
is one
come
thing like I noticed because like I said earlier, I'm go, go, go all season. I'm go, go, go all off season. And I noticed this year because I picked up a new spot and I had 6 different shooter bucks and
uh
only saw one and never got a shot, which happens in bow hunting. It is what it is. But
mhm.
dude, it's like,
See, also me though, I had a lot of options at my disposal too, because it's like I could go deer hunting public land here. I could go deer hunting public land in New Jersey. I could go to the deer lease that we got in Maryland. I could go to Buddy's property that he invites me out to, and there I could
mhm,
go. Like it was just like I had a lot of options and not enough time to, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Do you notice? So I actually just experienced that this year because I always only had either one place and then public land or 2 places in public land. Have you noticed when you start getting more spots that it kind of becomes more difficult to decide where you want to go? Because I had that exact problem. I missed out on so many good bucks that I could have killed because of that. I mean, is that
It it
normal?
does, but it also gives you a point to say, okay, I have all these spots this year. I killed X bucks at X spots. I saw bigger, better bucks at these spots. Maybe let me put my work into these spots here.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what my turkey season is going to be like this spring. Because I'm hunting 3 states, but I'm waiting to hear back about one state. Hopefully it comes through.
Yeah. Yeah, that turkey hunting stuff, man. I'm probably gonna go for the first time this year if I get my bow in time. That's the kind of thing for me is like I'm waiting to get this new form from Prime and I don't
Oh,
want
you
that.
got the Prime Forum.
I'm getting it soon.
Oh, we can talk about that in a little bit, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm interested about that.
Okay. Well, shoot, man. All I was gonna say is that I may go turkey hunting if I get it in time. If not, I won't. That's all I
Uh,
was gonna say. What about the form? What you got?
I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like a lot of people hate on it, and
Dude,
there's a
yeah.
lot of mixed
Okay.
emotions about it. But
Oh man.
I mean personally, if I had the means and necessariness to go out, set up a brand new $3,000, $4,000 bow, it would be the prime form.
Shoot, you're talking 3,000. It's only 1595 or something like that.
Well, then you also gotta think tuning it,
That's true. I
putting
mean, you
what you want
do,
on it, getting all that shit on it, and
yeah, you do put in a lot more work into it than, and that's one thing I love
because
the
also if
bows
you're
that
gonna spend that money, you're gonna want to spend the money just regardless to get all the
the
rest and
accessories and stuff
sight
with it.
and
Yeah.
right everything to make it that much better.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this. I shot the form about a month ago. Or
How'd you
actually,
like it?
no. When did I do the episode with Brian? 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks? I don't know. Let's just say a month, right?
Hmm.
And I'd known about the bow before it came out. One of my buddies is a bow tech, and he kind of spilled the beans a little bit. All he said to me, he never showed me a photo, but all he said was, it's gonna take you some time to get used to it. And so I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait for the leak, because these things happen, especially on something like that.
Right.
Saw the photo, texted him. I was like, is this it? He said yes. And I was like, dude, that's badass. It's the coolest bow I've ever seen.
Right. Well, you're in Georgia, you said, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the Bowtique guy or Bo the guy that owns the bow shop, Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty.
Yeah. He's been doing a lot of stuff on it. And like I kind of see and concur with him on his opinions about the Prime form. It's a carbon bow with an aluminum riser. You get the best of everything. Like you get the flexibility and mobility you need out of the aluminum limbs, and you get the rigidity out of the carbon riser.
I can tell you,
not even that. It's just two carbon risers, which make it even that much more rigid and sturdy when you're shooting your bow.
I can tell you right now, dude, because I shot the bear behind me all season and all summer last year. So basically, I've always been a bear guy, right? That's what I started with. I still have my first bow back there. You can see it laying down. And so I was like, oh, dude, Bear. And this is not anything against Bear at all. Bear is a great company. They make a great bow. But I knew after shooting multiple different bears, trying to switch to a different company, because I did shoot an Obsession for a little while. I knew what I wanted, and like shooting that bow and the flagship that Bear made, as good of a bow as it is, when I shot that form, I could tell, the innovation that they put into it. It's extremely sturdy. When you draw it back, there's no flex. You don't feel it. And that in itself, I love. Then you're talking the center grip. Okay, now you're talking about the mod system they have, the cam system they have on there. That's, you can either do the smooth or you can do the fast. I mean, I shot both, and I was like, dude, this is 70 pounds. Actually, it was over 70 pounds, like 72. Feels like I'm drawing 60. So it's like,
well, especially now with them big cams, everything's kind of like feels that way. It feels a little lighter.
I don't know, man. I mean,
I've noticed everybody's been running with is a lot bigger, not bigger cams, but bigger.
Yeah, more. It's more of like a big teardrop design, and I know Matthew's been doing that for a while, and I shot the new lift, and it felt good too. But I don't know, man. That new Prime, I'm big on archery innovation, and that was one thing.
That's changing the game. We're going to 100%.
And like my buddy Dylan Ray, who now runs the Typical Sportsman podcast, he said it on his episode with Bear. Or actually, no, did he? No, he didn't. This was off air, but he said it in his podcast now, so I can say it. His problem was the same problem I was having. Is I want to shoot a bow that is from an innovative company, and I see it in other companies, but what I've been shooting, I'm seeing like it's kind of like the catch-up game, where everything they're doing now is integrated systems, and that's cool. I mean, whatever, but that to me, you're just taking an idea that's already been done, and you're slapping it on your product and saying, "Oh, here we go, new." And it's like, dude,
right? They're just calling it new, or they're trying to be trendy.
Exactly. And so Prime, I went before Brian came on. I did the research. I looked back and I saw like everything that brought them to where they're at. And that form took 12 years. It's 12 years of testing, putting stuff together and it not working, and then finally figuring out the perfect mix. And yeah, dude, as far as I know, it's the first hybrid bow we've ever had, and it's amazing. Like, super sturdy. I have nothing bad to say
put
about
all that work and time and effort into that. That they came to play with that design.
Oh yeah, and it pissed me off too, because like Josh Jones, he does the bow reviews every year. He finally came out with his video. Actually, I think it came out the day that the new form dropped, and I commented on it. And I told Brian this. I was like, I commented on it saying, dude, that's the sickest bow I've ever seen. And I think I had one positive comment back on that. Everything else was like, sick in what way? Like, makes you want to throw up, or sick as in cool? I'm like, dude, it's the coolest bow that I've ever seen.
Right. And that's what I thought too. When I first saw it, I was like, dude, that thing is freaking cool.
Like, and think about it. It's like you said.
It looks like the future.
Yeah. You said it perfectly. It's got the aluminum where it needs to be. It's got the carbon where it needs to be. What's the problem? because it's
Right.
got two carbon sticks coming up, you think it's ugly? Like, dude, trust me, I've seen some bows that have come out recently that I'm like, that doesn't look right. Or maybe it looks
Right.
good, but it's a carbon copy of another company. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Or like for example, like Matthews and Hoyt this year, they pretty much came out with the same bows they came out with last year.
Yep.
Just tweaked one or two things with them and said, "Oh, it's going to be the Lift X or oh, the
Hmm.
RX-9
I
or
will
the Alpha X2 or
I will
whatever
say
they
this.
did." But I
Having
mean, not to knock them, they're both
yeah,
good
yeah.
companies. I shoot a Matthews solo cam still.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, old school.
Old trusty dusty, I like it.
Oh yeah, always. I'm probably gonna end up changing the strings and a couple other things on it this year, but yeah, definitely gonna have to change the strings on it. Is a
Yeah. I mean,
must. But
look, I've talked with a few buddies that are big in like bow tuning, that have their hand. I mean, I had Evan from Hoyt on here and we talked for 2 hours, the longest podcast I've ever done about the new
mhm.
bows. Then Brian comes on and we talk about the prime. And it's like I I knew I wanted to upgrade, and then being able to work the deal out with Prime and all that other stuff's just a blessing. That's just icing on the cake.
Oh yeah.
But I like what they're doing. And yes, the Hoyts are basically the same as last year. The only difference I saw was the mod system that they have. And
Hmm.
that's cool. I mean, if I like that they have the adjustable mods. They have 5 different mods that you can do, I think from 27 to 30 inches. And it's
I think it
quarter
might be
inch increment.
31. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know
So
that
it's
they're
like,
both got that extra inch or two. Yeah.
exactly. I'm cool with it. I think that's great.
Right. And plus,
But
that also gives you a bigger demographic too, because then those big, tall, lengthy guys are like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7",
mhm,
that want to get into bow hunting and that really couldn't before because they never really found a bow that was comfortable for them or could
I'll
fit
tell
their draw
you,
length. They got one now, so that opens up the game some to people.
yes. And I will tell you, I'll tell you the main reason why I decided to pursue Prime over anything else. Yes, the innovation's cool. The bow looks cool, whatever. My
Hmm.
biggest thing was with that bow back there, there was a couple times this season where, and I was shooting it enough, like I was comfortable with it, but there was a couple times where, for whatever reason, my nerves got to me and I'd go to draw it back and I'd find myself struggling. Now that's on
Hmm.
70 pounds, which again, shooting it enough, I should be conditioned to that and be able to do it. There was a couple times, man, I would go draw back and I'd stop right here and I could feel my shoulder kind of like kicking in a little bit
Hmm.
and like it would start to hurt. So I'd have to let down. That cost me dear. And so
Yeah.
after that happened, I started thinking like, well, I know that Prime makes a smoother bow that's still fast enough. You can still shoot 70 pounds. They make an 80-pound version. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
looking at maybe getting that. And
That's what I was thinking about too. I might, maybe not this year, but either next or the following one, looking to getting a new bow that's around 80 pounds.
yeah,
Just because I feel like I can pull it, hold it, and
well, and I'll tell you this, and
faster, heavier arrows, possibilities, that kind of
exactly.
deal.
I don't want to, I mean, yes, okay, I'm biased towards Prime, right? I'm open about that. I'm
Hmm.
100% biased. But I can say, to be as fair as possible, I did shoot the new Hoyts and they were running a little hotter. They were like 73, 74.
Hmm.
Didn't even feel it. So whenever you're in the market, let me know, and
Yeah.
I always shoot the new bows every time they come out, just so I can kind of have a good idea of what I'm working with.
Hmm.
Because I'll tell any of, like, especially Brian and them over at Prime, if I feel, now granted my word doesn't hold much water with that, like that's very new, but I know like Brian shoots me straight, I'm gonna shoot him straight. So if I feel like
Hmm.
there's something that maybe needs to be tweaked, I'll tell him. But
Yeah.
as of right
And they
now, I don't
probably
feel that way.
appreciate that or want all that feedback because
Yeah.
that's what helps them design the next great best thing. And I honestly think Prime just started something that's going to revolutionize bow hunting.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to capitalize on it next year when they drop new bows.
Hmm.
And it's probably going to take everybody at least 3 or 4 years to catch up.
So that
If they
was
haven't,
one.
if they haven't kind of been playing with that process already.
Yeah, that was one thing that I talked with him. I think on the episode about, because I did ask him. I was like, "How did you get the carbon and aluminum to sort of, I guess, stay firm together?" Because I'm over here thinking, well, did you use like some industrial grade super glue? Like, how did you do that? You can't weld
Right.
that stuff together. And he was very hush hush about it. And granted, some people have a problem with that. I mean, you know, a lot of people look at the archery industry and they're like, oh, well, if this thing works so great, why do they patent it? They should, you know, give it to everybody so everyone can. It's like that business wise, that's not how it works.
Right, that's not how it
Oh,
works because you want to be the guy that knows that and has the capital on that for that time.
exactly.
And then once everybody else figures it out, they look old while you're still coming out with new hot stuff. So
And
kudos to Prime for keeping it close to the vest.
yes. And the
As they
beautiful thing
should.
about it is look at what Bowtech did when they did the
Mhm.
whole cam adjustment thing. Now you've got Matthews doing it. Obsession is doing it.
Yep.
PSE is doing it.
Yep.
Everybody's innovating their own way. And now with Prime doing this new riser design and material difference, you're going to see these companies start going, you know, different routes. You're going to see Matthews at some point. Well, maybe not Matthews because they're pretty stubborn on it. They might, but I promise you, Hoyt might end up doing it.
Oh, I could so see Hoyt doing it because I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
some stuff. I've seen some concept bows and other stuff like that from Hoyt. I think honestly, I could see Hoyt competing with Prime in the carbon tube aspect with the aluminum accents on the ends of it. Like I could see Hoyt being the closest thing or closest brand, I should say, to compete with Prime's form if it takes
yeah.
off how it should.
It's all about how they do it
Hmm.
because, and again, I'm not an engineer, right? I never in a million years would have thought of the way that Prime did that bow, but I can't think of any way really to make a bow without having the carbon tubing, you know?
Right.
So it's going to be interesting, dude. And I did
Hmm.
not think we would be talking about this. I really didn't, but I'm
No.
glad we did.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
enjoy it.
Hmm.
But yeah, Prime's awesome. So whenever you're in the market, if you haven't shot that for him yet, or even the RBX plus 32 or 34,
Hmm.
shoot it. Because I used to be, you know, big on the speed thing. Then I went and talked to Troy, the ranch fairy,
Hmm.
and he got me on the heavy arrow thing. I've kind of come back to a midweight arrow thanks to T-Bone, and it's like all that's changing, you know.
Hmm.
And now I just want something that's fast but comfortable. And I feel
Right.
like the average bow hunter wants that.
Right. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Like, granted, we all do everything and have the love for hunting and all this and that, but at the end of the day, we all just want to be comfortable while we do it, and whatever's most comfortable to us, that's what we're gonna stick with.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's been plenty of times, man, especially early on, where I was not doing it right. I was
Hmm.
overbowed. I mean, my old bow, I had it at, dude, when I first started, they had me at 40 pounds. It didn't tell me. I'm thinking I'm shooting 50. I've got a 2.3-inch broadhead at the tip of the arrow, and I think I'm the baddest thing in the woods. And coming
Right.
out, I was shooting 40 pounds. So going
Right.
from that to 60, well, the let off never changed. It was always 75%. So I
Right.
remember days I'd be like, oh, yeah, and dude, it was bad. I'm shocked that bow did not blow up on me, honestly. Um, those $300 bows from Cabela's will do the job if you need them to. But
Oh yeah.
I'd be down here and just cranking on the limb bolt, getting it as tight as I could and getting as much poundage out of it as I could, changing my draw length. And I
Hmm.
remember days being out in the front yard when it's 95 degrees and muggy, and I'm just, you know, struggling to draw it back, and I finally get it back, and I almost punch myself in the face because that's 75%. And I'm sitting there holding it back, and I'd shoot like 5 or 10 times, go upstairs, and I'd tell my wife, it's like my shoulder hurts. Like I don't like that. But it's part of it. You have to learn, you know.
Right.
So I like what we're seeing with these bows. I asked the working class guys. They did their 700th episode, and I'm on their Patreon thing. So they put a thing out, and it was like, ask us anything. So I went on there. I was like, what do you guys think about the bow technology? And they said, you know, keep doing whatever you're doing. Like you guys are
Hmm.
making it a lot better. Things are more comfortable. People can shoot 80 pounds and it feels like 60. That's 20 years ago. No one would ever been able to say that. So
Right.
we're catching up to Cam Haynes. I think Cam's going to have to do like a 120-pound bow if he wants to stay on top because the next 5 years, everyone's going to be shooting 90.
Well, it's like him, Rogan, and Bomar are the only three that shoot 90 right now, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Speaking of Bomar, have you tried out those new beast heads?
I have not, but I might be switching to fixed heads all in general instead of mechanical.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So that makes me think of this. We kind of got a little off track with the bow stuff. That was fun.
Hmm.
Um, we are creeping up a little bit close to an hour here. So I
Oh,
want to talk
already?
about your
Wow.
deer season. What
Yeah.
what was your deer season like, and why are you thinking about switching to fixed plates?
Um, our deer season was just kind of like a mixed bag is in general. Like we would have the weather and what we need one week, and then it'd be hot as balls. We also had a horrible drought up here, which affected a lot this year too. Um, I did end up getting one doe. Spent a lot of time chasing that one buck we talked about. Um,
So you both were hunting that buck,
who?
you and your buddy.
He, he wasn't really hunting it. He said if it got like within 5, 10 yards, he'd shoot it, but never got that close to him.
Dang, that's why so close?
Because he kind of wanted me to get that buck, and he already shot his big buck
Oh, okay. I thought he was like one of
early.
those trad guys that's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot it at 5 yards, which I respect the hell out of him. But trad, I
Yeah,
cannot do it. And I've tried. Ain't no
yeah,
way.
no, he was kind of saving it for me
I gotcha.
because he shot his 170 in September. So
Jesus, you say it so nonchalant. Just yeah, he shot a 170, so he was gonna let me shoot potential 200-inch typical, whatever. That's
right,
that's crazy, dude. God, Georgia sucks for deer sometimes. I swear. Anyway, no
but
more
yeah, no,
depressing things.
other than that, I mean, I had some good sits, saw a decent amount of like deer movement and action, but nothing really like too close to me.
Hmm.
I mean, I did have a couple encounters and opportunities at a public land 9 point, but
How
nothing
big
that
was it?
was how big?
Hmm. If you had to guess,
Probably like 150, 160.
bruh, what is wrong with you? Why would you let him walk?
Well, he wasn't close enough to where I felt
Oh, okay.
comfortable with shooting. He'd be at like 65, 70 yards in
I
an
got
open.
you.
Granted, it was in an open field, but I'm not that comfortable shooting that far yet.
You're not Tim Gillingham shooting at 120. I got you.
Right.
I understand that.
I'm not no Olympic 100 yard shooter yet, at least. I like 50 is probably like a good max that I'll push it to, and that's like feels like me pushing it. So
So, why the fixed blade switch? What happened?
uh I shot one doe at my buddy's place. Granted, like I said, he backs up to the marsh,
Hmm.
and we lost her in the marsh. And I just feel like because of how I hit her and where, like when I hit her, the air was still hanging out of her. Like there was no
Uh,
clean pass through.
yeah.
And like just that alone right there kind of like just triggered me. I was like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about fixed heads anymore. Granted, I get the idea and like idea of it's closest to a field point, but if you have your bow tuned fixed, then
Yeah.
it's just as good.
So, what broadhead was it?
I don't want to name dropping like
No, you can. It's perfectly fine. I mean, if it is a G5 head, there's nothing wrong with that.
no, it's not G5. It's
Okay.
definitely not
Yeah,
no
then I mean,
G5 or
even
W5.
even if it was, dude, I told Brian this too, and I don't mean to keep bringing him up, but I was very honest with him about my experience with the Mega Meat at one point
Hmm.
and found out it was user error in the end. But at the time, I completely swore off mechanicals. I mean, I was shooting fixed heads nonstop, and I had my own
Yeah.
reasons because of blood trails and all that stuff. But I eventually made the switch back to G5, and I think
Uh-huh.
mechanicals are great for whitetails. But that doesn't mean that I'm right.
Right.
Mechanicals and fixed both work is the main thing. So I mean, you can
It's
say
not.
whatever brand it was. It's not like we're bashing them. These things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's not the bash nobody. It's just the performance and what happened wasn't to my par, so
Yeah.
I kind of have second opinions about that brand. And it's the Rage Hypodermics. Not saying that they're bad. I
Mm,
mean, I have
okay.
buddies that use them and have killed with them before, but it's just
Is that the one that's got the collar on it?
no collar.
No collar. So okay. So this is the one that's kind of got like the serrated bottom parts of the where the blades are at, not the blade itself.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
yes.
Dude, that's crazy because I don't think I have So I have this deer over here. You can't see him, but I call him the prayer buck. And this is before I got into bow hunting. Like I was still shooting a crossbow. Long story, don't judge me. But I shot that deer with a rage hypodermic, and he died within. Well, let me say this: he fell over within 10 yards of where I shot him. He was still alive, just barely had a pulse when I walked up on him. One of the weirdest experiences I've ever had. Very humbling, but it worked great. But I've also heard stories of that exact broadhead where it's exactly what you just said. You shoot them, not a full pass through, and then you lose the deer. So
Yeah.
again, it goes back to it. Like,
And not that like I had a bad shot on deer. It was probably like back of the lungs,
yeah,
through the lungs. But just because it didn't have that full pass through, I didn't feel like it was a good enough shot, and that's what ended up losing the deer. And then my buddy found it later on in the marsh on the property, but still.
yeah. What was the I mean, what was the entry like? What was the blood trail like? Like what were you guys seeing after the shot?
There was a little bit of a blood trail. Like we had the good red and frothy blood,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, it just got into the marsh and we lost it along the reeds and
I got you. I mean, how far? And I'm just curious on this.
mhm,
How far was she from the marsh when you shot her? Like to the point where you couldn't get her.
probably 50, 60 yards.
Okay.
Because what she did was she came right under me and then she kind of like did a circle around me at like 20 yards and like
Mhm.
kind of like went, but then came back. And then when she came back is when I shot her and she like kicked back around and went down probably like
Was she
20,
broadside?
40, quartering away.
Okay, so you kind of tucked it in then
Ye-
like behind the ribs.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So
Or
the
like
deer
right
back
into
there,
the ribs.
yes, the deer back there, I shot with a mega meat in the exact same way. And he went probably 100 yards. Now, mind you, my bow was not tuned. And
Uh-huh.
if I went into detail, your head would spin because the dumb things that I was doing at the time. I'm shocked I even killed him. But yeah, I mean, I've seen that too. Like so, and that's again, the I lost 2 deer this year. Okay, I shot one
Hmm.
with a fixed blade, no blood trail, never found it. Actually, I'm pretty sure that I hit her bad because she was bedded up about 50 yards away, and I bumped her because I'm thinking it was a double lung because I was so hyped up, nerves were going, whatever. Second deer I shot was with a beast head. And now, mind you, I shot 2 deer this year with the beast head. One of them watched her fall dead in 30 seconds. The other one, slightly quartered two. Arrow looked great. No blood trail. Expected
Hmm.
her to be up on because I was hunting a power line. So I thought she'd be at
Hmm.
the top of the power line on the ridge. Nothing. I walked 1,000 yards. Not a single drop of blood. Never found her. So
Hmm.
both sides of the coin are gonna quote unquote fail at certain times. I just think, I mean, and you shoot like what fixed blade are you looking at? I saw you shared on your story today, Iron Will.
That's what I was gonna think
Okay.
about shooting because they got the small game turkey heads and I liked I because me and my wife went up to the Great Outdoor Show in Harrisburg and they had a booth and we stopped by and I was talking to one of the reps there and I like the wide series that they have a lot,
Gotcha. Okay.
especially what they had there. I picked one up and I was like, holy crap, that'll do some damage.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I feel like when you're talking broadheads, and me and Bergie are going to do an episode on his podcast about this because I told him I want to do a deep dive because he uses both. He uses fixed and mechanical,
Hmm.
and I've used both. I've had mixed results. Some deer I've shot with fixed blades, they've fallen 60 yards, and the blood trail's terrible, but you can still find them. Other ones I've shot,
Hmm.
and lost them. Mechanicals, I've had red carpet straight to them, and then other times I've seen them fall. Other times I've lost them.
Hmm.
So it's kind of the both. Both will do the same thing.
Right.
But it kind of just boils down to what you want. I mean, you're giving up something when you make a decision like that. Whichever
Right.
one you're going to shoot. Mechanicals, you may not get a full pass through, but you might get a ridiculous blood trail.
Hmm.
Fixed blade, you'll get a full pass through a lot of the times, and the blood trail is terrible. But
Hmm.
they die really quickly. So
But I will say, if I do stay with mechanicals, I might switch to sever. I just like the idea of having something with a bleeder
Yeah.
because most mechanicals don't have that three or extra blade to have a
Hmm.
bleeder. And I was talking to Daryl from Charged Up Outdoors and down in Houston. He's a sever ambassador, as so you should say. And he was telling me all the good things about the Sever. And he shoots I think the 2 inch, Sever 2 inches.
Hmm. Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
that broadhead is solid. I've watched a lot of
yeah.
videos on it. I actually did have some, and I just never used them. And so I gave them
Hmm.
to a buddy of mine, and he shot some deer with them. He said they were good. I mean, my
Hmm.
thing with the Sever, and I can't pull from experience on it. I've never shot an animal with it. I've heard people say that the blades sometimes don't fully open, but I sort of write that stuff off because it's like you could have a broadhead like the Beast. Let's use that as an example. It's the most recent one
Hmm.
that I've used. Um, it'll go through the animal, but if it hits a rock or it digs in the dirt, those blades can close up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Right, because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to like condense if it hits something hard.
exactly, exactly. So sometimes weird things happen with deer, man. They do.
Yep.
And so the broadhead thing, I don't like basically sitting there and being like, oh, well, you need to use a mega meat because even if it doesn't get a full pass through, you're going to get this giant hole. Even though that's true,
Right.
I tracked a deer. Now, again, weird things happen with deer hunting, but me and my buddy tracked a deer for over a mile and he shot it with a
Hmm.
mega meat. And long story short, he double lunged it. Somehow the broadhead came back and popped out the chest area of the deer and it ran 60 yards. We would have found it. And funny enough, this was in a marsh right across from
Damn.
where we hunt. Um, we would have found it right there.
Oh
But
wow.
coyotes jumped it, so we had to go a whole mile. It's just
Right.
it happens.
Right.
So that's why I'm really hesitant. I mean, have you used a hypodermic in the past and it's worked great?
I've used hypodermic before. It's now that I think about it, it's given me issues in the past too. So like it's worked, like it's worked and killed, but like it's been some tracking to do with them.
Got it. Okay. Well, I don't
So
know. I feel like every year since I've started this podcast, my opinion on broadheads has changed.
yeah.
I started not repping, but I started pushing, oh, the mega meat's the best. And then I had a user error. So I was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
well, mechanicals, I want something I can trust. So I'm going to shoot this fixed blade, single bevel, punch
Uh-huh.
the bone. And then lost a deer to that and kind of started rethinking it. And it's like, well, I don't, because it's all situational. Like you might be the type of guy
Yep.
that likes to hug the shoulder. I don't. I'm 3 inches off, 3 inches up. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm
And
in that lungs heart breadbasket area.
yeah, so
Just
you
behind the shoulder.
exactly. So you switching to a fixed actually makes more sense than like if I were to do it. Because
Right.
you're in that crease area that if you're off by an inch, right or left, depending on how the deer is, you can hit a
Uh-huh.
heavy bone and
Right.
run into problems there. So you want something that's going to cut through it. I
Right.
totally understand that. I don't know. I think iron will, if you're looking at fixed, I mean, not to sound like a G5, fanboy or anything, but they do make fixed blades. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, Montex are pretty good. Montex are good. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna hate
I
the
would
Montex,
say
but
the strikers. Those strikers are badass. My buddy Jordan uses them and he lives by those things.
are those G5 the strikers?
Yep. They so
I'll have to check them out. I haven't really checked them out. I've been looking into the Iron Wills a lot, and I've
yeah,
just been kind
yeah.
of liking them.
And iron wheels are awesome. They are a
Hmm.
great broadhead, but they're extremely expensive. Um,
Yeah, but I hear that price holds.
oh yeah, I mean I believe it. I've seen videos. I don't know if you watch like John Lusk or anything. I have my
Uh-huh.
opinions on his testing, but overall I think he does a great job.
Yeah.
And the iron will has always been for him like one of the top fixed blades. My
Yeah.
thing with it is over time, resharpening. If you lose one, that's what $35, $40 gone right there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my argument with it. But I do know if you do look into the G5 Striker, they've got a 3-blade and a 4-blade, and they're replaceable. And the way that they sharpen those is the same exact way as they sharpen the Mega Meat. And if you've ever handled a Mega Meat, you know them suckers are sharp
Oh
as
yeah.
crap, dude.
Yeah.
I told Brian, I was like, you need to start sending band-aids or stitches with those things because I have sliced myself to the bone so many times being an idiot with those broadheads that I wanted to send him a hospital bill and be like, look, dude, I could send you photos of me cutting myself with those things. But I don't know. I mean, I used to be like matter of fact about it, and now it's like just shoot whatever the hell you want. You know, if you're confident with it, shoot it.
I mean, if it kills and you're confident with it, just shoot it, right? Like me, in
Exactly.
my case, I've had X, Y, and Z happen with the hypodermics, so now I'm back into the
Fixed
ballpark
it.
with it. Well,
Well,
I want to say fixed place, but in the market for somebody else.
I gotcha. Do you guys have hogs up there?
We do not have hogs in Delaware.
You are blessed.
Not as yet.
Yeah.
We do have Sika deer in
Yeah.
the lower corner, kind of towards the eastern shore, and they're big in the eastern shore of Maryland.
Have you hunted those yet?
I wanted to this year. I don't have too much information. I've kind of through this hunting season, I've gotten some more information about them, so I might take a stab at it next year.
Got it.
We
Those
shall
things are
see.
cool.
But
Those
that's
things
on.
are
Oh
so
yeah,
cool.
I call them the East Coast elk, man.
Yep. It's basically what they are.
That's basically what they are. They're just smaller elk.
Yeah, I saw Drew from Seek One hunt those a few years back.
Hmm.
And I was like, dude, I don't know. I want to start branching out again, why I'm trying to hit Ohio, Colorado,
Hmm.
stuff like that. I always forget about those, the Sika deer,
Yep.
because you just don't. We had so in Georgia, I don't know about you guys, but we've got a lot of like exotic animal fans here. It's kind of like Texas, like Joe Exotic type stuff. And
Uh-huh.
one of about an hour, I think an hour west or an hour and a half west of me, there was a farm that had Sika deer and they got out, and they had red
Oh.
deer and they got out. And so one of my buddies lives in the county that happened, and he's had them on camera. And I'm just like, dude, I will literally pay you to come shoot one of those things. Because DNR said they're like, if you see it, shoot it. It's
Right.
an invasive species, which sure. But yeah, dude, if you get the chance to go down there after those things, that would be sick.
Oh
I
yeah.
would be so happy for you if you got one of those.
Oh yeah. I'll probably get after it eventually within the next couple of years and get a video of it and all that jazz up. But
Hell yeah.
another cool thing that Delaware has in the waterfowl is swans. They get the swan tags every year.
Really?
Hmm. Delaware's one of the few states with swan tags. But this year, I got a mute swan here in Delaware, and they are invasive, and they are seen as kill 'em in any bird season in Delaware.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there you go. There's your target. Test some
yeah,
broadheads out on that.
right.
That's what I told Thor and them. I'm like, dude, if I go duck hunting with you guys, I'm taking the bow. I'm not. I've seen a few people do that, and I don't know. I want to kill stuff with the bow. You know what I mean?
And I will say there is a funny story with that swan. I had to go swimming in 20-degree weather for it with icebergs around
Oh
in my
hell no!
in my skippies.
Oh god, did you get it on film?
No, I didn't get it on
Ah, you
film.
missed the opportunity.
And listen to this. After I flooded my waders and had to get into my coveralls, so I went swimming twice that morning.
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. See, you're making me not want to go duck hunting or bird hunting
But see,
anymore.
that's what makes it fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
That's what
I
makes
can't
it
swim
fun.
that well. So, do they
I
give you like can I get like little floaties or something if I need them? Or is that against the like bright
that's
orange
not
floaties?
that's not against the thing. You might just want to stick to field hunting then, or go where there's hard bottom. I will say that some areas I've duck hunted, I sink up to my waist, and that's where some of the hate comes in, the love hate with duck hunting.
Yeah.
But I have discovered this year, not discovered, but discovered a love for diver hunting because you're by the beach and you can
Mm,
go sit on the side of the beach. And you have a lot of hard bottom beach and sand underneath you when you're walking around out there in the
yeah.
bays and along the edges, the shore and stuff.
Only got to worry about sharks at that point. That's not that bad.
Well, sharks ain't gonna be out when it's that cold.
I'm kidding. Oh man, that's funny. Well, look, dude, I appreciate you coming on.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. Thank
Where
you.
can everybody find you? Give me a shameless plug real quick before we wrap it up.
So everybody can find me at Blue Hen Outdoors on TikTok, Instagram, and I believe YouTube. If not, Blue Hen Outdoors on YouTube. You can find me on Blue Hen Bow Hunting, what the brand used to be on YouTube. But other than that, Blue Hen Outdoors on TikTok and Instagram is where we're at big right now.
Sounds good, man. Well, if you enjoy deer hunting, turkey hunting, and duck hunting, and hear about having to go, what is it, waist deep in water, you're the man.
Oh yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
Awesome, dude. Well, look, buddy, I appreciate it, man. We'll get you back on this later this year. I do want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about the differences in like Georgia preseason and Delaware preseason, see if there's anything that's similar or if it's two completely different worlds. But
Oh yeah, for sure. And then maybe if time passes or by then we can talk some turkey.
yes,
Maybe if it's
yes.
summertime, talk a little fishing. Who knows?
I wanted to talk about turkey. I completely dropped that. So we are gonna have to do another episode. If I go turkey hunting, I'm getting you on and I'm gonna tell you everything I did wrong.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, we can talk. We can definitely talk turkey next episode. That's definitely my passion above everything else is turkey
Really?
hunting.
Okay. Well,
Oh
I
yeah.
feel bad now. I didn't bring that up.
It's all good, man. Give us something else to talk about.
Yep. Save it for the next one. Awesome, dude. Well, I really appreciate it. Again, thank you for coming on and we'll do it again soon.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.